Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is December the 1st, 2023. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good on the first of the month. Actually, I gotta say, today was stressful. Work was not fun. It wasn't great. But we got through it. We persevered. I didn't fully snap, so yay that. I think this is just a case of the holiday season kicking my ass a little bit. But overall, we're good. We are past that. And like I said, it is the first, so you know what that means? It's the newsy roll call time. So let me just start this shit off. My loyal members, my loyal listeners, I appreciate y'all so much. Let me just start now. Stephanie Renee, Denver McIntosh, and Edward Haas. Thank you so much for all that you do and contribute to the effort. Also for Edward, please check out Commander's Conclave. It is a Commander, Magic the Gathering, Commander EDH YouTube thing. Feel free to check that out if you're interested. It's very cool. Sometimes I have guest appeared, made a guest appearance, But yeah, it's just a fun vibe and it's really cool, just kind of chill and watch some Magic content, that's just something I do a lot, so it's up my alley. But yeah, let's see here. Is there food corner I should talk about? Foods. I did chicken, and it was like chicken tenders, but I made them into like a sandwich, and that was yummy. That was pretty good with some onion rings. That was a nice little vibe. Let's see here. Nothing really else to report on the personal front. It's a working weekend for your boy, but other than that, we're good. It feels good to be at the end of the year in a way. I don't like this time of year, if I'm being honest. Winter is just not my vibe. It always feels like a survival run until I get to spring. But I will say there's a certain kind of fulfillment I get being like, because I ran my rent check and I was like, yeah, this is it. We did it. Like we tossed this one up. It's gonna get cash. We made that happen, and then it's 2024. You know what I mean? And that's neat. That's nice. So, if you feel me, if you notice me getting wistful and nostalgic, on the beat, hey, I'm sorry about it. I just get like this. Just like I'm your average bear. What can I say? But this is where I start taking stock, saying, "Hey, looks like we maybe made it, huh? Looks like we really fought hard. We worked hard. We made it through adversity. You know what I mean?" But yeah. You love to see it. Let's see here. Let me go ahead and do my startup, and then we'll get into some news. Let's go ahead and get Classico style now. Sorry, I'm seeing the craziest ad right now. It is, and this is not sponsored. Ollie. I'm just gonna read them. Ollie loving libido. Ollie happy hoo ha. The secret combo for vag health. Shop now. Look, I hope I can say this and still be an ally, but what is vag health the way you say it? Shouldn't you say vagina? Shouldn't it be vagina health? I mean, I guess they're consolidating space for this big ass fucking bulletin advertisement that they're giving me. Thank you, Associated Press, where we're getting the first one from. Sorry, I'm just stun locked here. I'm just seeing in bright purple letters the secret combo for vag health. Wow, that broke my frame. Okay, anyway. You know what, though? Shout out to Vag Wellness. Okay. All right. Israel's Israel's war with Hamas resumes with airstrikes in Gaza after a week-long truce ends. Israel's war with Hamas erupted again Friday as airstrikes hit houses and buildings in Gaza Strip minutes after a week-long truce expired. Health authorities in the besieged territory reported dozens of Palestinians killed, and Israel dropped leaflets over Gaza and parts in southern parts of the enclave, urging civilians to flee to avoid the fighting. Of course, where the fuck are you going to flee to in a situation where you cannot flee to the north? We've talked about how that doesn't work out well for you. You might get shot and killed. And you can't flee anywhere in the south because you've already fled here, and now you're stuck elbow to elbow with everybody, and you're just playing more or less fucking musical chairs with like, oh, you can go here now. Oh, you can go there now. Hopefully you don't get blown up. But militants in Gaza resumed firing rockets into Israel, and fighting broke out between Israel and Hezbollah militants operating along the northern border with Lebanon. So, I mean, essentially, we're just right back at it like we never left. It's a shame. I was hoping that the ceasefire maybe could keep continuing this way, but it looks like, we've kind of run out of road on that for now. And I mean, inevitably, we do have to get back here. That is the inevitable end of all these kind of conflicts, is you have to stop. You have to at least take a fucking break, and you have to, allow people to rebuild. It's so frustrating. It's so upsetting because it's just like, I know that we're right back at it, and it just sucks to, I don't know, just be right back on this fucking bad news, y'all. But, we can't stop talking about it. That's for sure. I do want to add, let's see here. Just get to the very end. During the truce, which began November 24th, Hamas and other militants in Gaza released more than 100 hostages, 81 Israelis, and 24 from other nationalities, mainly Thais. Israel freed 240 Palestinians from its prisons. Virtually all from both sides were women and children. Just to, kind of take a tally there. Also, another unfortunate thing about this, too, is that not only is the conflict re-engaging, recommencing, but also the aid is now going to get blocked off again and stopped up again. At least that's what it looks like. And that's obviously just the worst case scenario, because it's not like there's been enough aid coming in already. So, that is just going to keep going to worse. I keep hearing about waterborne diseases and things like cholera or dysentery, things like that are becoming more of a thing. I might be getting those diseases wrong exactly, but you know what I mean? Like, you get in these situations where you don't have running water, you don't have, the proper means of survival. This is what's going to happen to a people. Not to mention winter is literally coming, and the conditions are just getting worse and worse. So these are things that you definitely, when you look at the face of, like, there's already so little aid that was coming in these, like, what was it, 6 days, right? Maybe 6-7 days. And now we're back to none. We're back to zero with that. So that's very, very sad. It's very frustrating. But, that is the update there. I know I'm kind of being a little bit hasty there, but there is the article if you'd like to read the details. I always, advise that. Let's see here. Let me move on, though. From Yahoo News. Representative George Santos expelled from Congress in historic vote. I didn't think they were going to do it. I didn't think so. I mean, he's dodged an expulsion before. That was from, New York Republicans. But this time they said, we got your ass. Embattled New York Representative George Santos was expelled from the House on Friday in an historic vote following a House Ethics Committee investigation into alleged fraud perpetrated by his campaign after months of scandals around the freshman Republican lawmaker. Following the release of the ethics report last month, Santos, 35, said he would not seek re-election to the Long Island area seat he won in 2022. But he said, I'm not fucking leaving. Essentially, he was saying more or less he was going to be standing up to bullies, and that they were going to have to actually, force him out if that's what they, wanted. And I do like that, Mike Johnson, House Speaker, more or less came up to him, I think it was earlier in this week, if I'm not mistaken, and kind of tried to give him an ultimatum, not kicking him out, but saying hey man, maybe it's the time to rethink things, reevaluate things, because you don't really want to put us to a vote. But Santos is I'm not fucking leaving. So yeah, I guess I do, more or less. And it definitely put the House in a really awkward situation, because no one really wanted to vote him out like this. They wanted him to just leave so that the trash kind of takes itself out. But I mean, I do like that in his his death throes in this situation, Santos really called, shit out, saying like, hey, you guys think I'm bad, I'm corrupt. There's all these other motherfuckers who are in this house doing the most fucked up corrupt shit. Like, that's why they don't really want to do this. And it's like, I do think that's very true. I think you do not want to put a spotlight on this behavior this way because there are plenty of motherfuckers who are doing this shit. And not to mention for Republicans, there's a higher priority concern of we want all the numbers we can get. We have a razor thin majority here. And like, if we don't want to slice the ham at all any thinner, okay? We need this. We need thick cuts and we need this beefy boy in. But I think after the ethics report, it really just soured everything, which I think is kind of funny and weird because like at the end of the day, people knew, like everyone knew what the fuck Santos has been doing. They do run in the latter half of this article like a nice cadre of Santos's exploits, and there's plenty. You can fill a whole podcast what this man's done, all the scams, all the grifts, all the Botox. But at the end of the day, you don't want to have a spotlight on you. And I feel like I'm kind of talking in circles here. Let me get to the article. There were 311 votes to remove Santos, with 114 voting against and 2 voting present. I love that. I love when motherfuckers are just like, oh, I'm here. I'm not actually voting. Which, once again, it does go to show those 114, essentially 116, that were essentially not voting to kick him out. Why not? Like, clearly you see this is a problematic person. This is not the way that this should be. This is a person who got here on bad means, but all these motherfuckers had reasons or answers. Like, we feel like we should let the actual due process take its course because he has, a bunch of fraud charges mounted against him, which will be taking place September of next year. I think September 9th, which, hey, hopefully I'm going to be alive and there to talk about that shit, But, yeah, I mean, Santos is out. That is the end of that. There's now a vacuum that is looking to be filled. We shall see who will fill it, whether it will be a Republican or a Democrat. Let's see. Representative Tom Susi, the reported favorite on the Democratic side. Now, since we're talking about New York, we're talking about Long Island. When I initially think New York, I initially think like Democrat, but I know Long Island kind of has like maybe a different flavor, different tang. I don't know if I have any New York listeners, like, hey, or, people who just know New York, hey, chime in, let me know, hit my DMs, say what's up. Because I don't know, from what I've heard, listening, to the Daily and whatnot, this was kind of like a place that was kind of primed to flip, and it just did, and it flipped in Republicans' favor, and Santos was the Republican there. So, I mean, maybe that can happen again. Lightning can strike twice in this situation. But goddamn, I mean, you know me. I'm a liberal. At the end of the day, I'm a liberal at heart. I'm always rooting for the Dems to at least get it, even though I know that they're all fucked up and shitty and corrupt, just like, any and all of them. They're all Santos, if you ask me. But, we got to play team sports to a bit, I feel like. But at the same time, I'm also tired of like doing that schlock. I'm a complicated guy. What can I say? But yeah, that's where we'll leave it here. Like I said, if you want to read the little rundown that they give on the Yahoo News, it's there. It's available. As well, you can definitely just peruse the internet and find plenty about George Santos. But let me move on to Politico. Newsom camp. Hannity, DeSantis cheated. They dispute the charges. Okay, I'm going to tell you right here, flat out, I'm not really going to reference too much of this article. This is more of a riff. I actually wound up watching the debate, but I literally, remembered it was happening. I found out it was happening yesterday, and I was like, this shit, it sounds boring. And I've already watched, 3 real debates, the presidential ones. These two motherfucking schmucks are not, Newsom is not running. He officially has not thrown his hat in the ring. It's rumored that he might, he's thinking about it, blah, 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 but he's not done it. At the end of the day, and even in this thing, he's saying, oh, I'm not going to. I don't even think he would win anyway. I don't really care. It was just very boring on its surface, so I didn't watch it. But then I was like, I felt bad Found a way to watch it the next day, and I gotta say, it was boring and not interesting, and there was really nothing learned, nothing gained by either side. But it is kind of worth talking about, so, hey, let me get my money's worth. Georgia. So much for that Newsom-Hannity bromance, which they are referencing there. Newsom has gone on plenty of times and talked to Hannity, and apparently they've kind of worked up a rapport. And now apparently that might be on the rocks, because literally they fucking tried to DP Newsom. That's I'm being a bit graphic there, sorry, but the way this debate went down, it was this debate that took place in Georgia, and essentially it was, a red versus blue kind of conversation. So Newsom, the California governor, going up against Ron DeSantis, the Florida governor, also president, candidate running, president, I don't know what the word is. I'm in the weeds, whatever. They're going to have a conversation. And it's okay, cool. And I think when they initially pitched this, it seemed once again that maybe Gavin Newsom might run, so there was more steam there, but he hasn't thrown his hat in the ring. It doesn't look like he is. He's even said he started off the shit saying doing almost a self-own, but then also owning Ron DeSantis, being oh, neither of us are gonna be the president-elect in 2024, so whatever. And I'm oh yeah, that's totally fucking true. Good point there. That being said, I cannot keep saying this enough. Both of these motherfuckers were losers. They both lost. They both did not get anything out of this, I feel. It is so sad for Ron DeSantis, our little shorty, our little meatball. They are literally talking about, what is it, the Koch brothers or whatever? I think it's the Koch brothers. They are throwing their hat, or their support behind Nikki Haley. So they're saying, you know what? Maybe it's time to, let a girl boss in. Maybe we can't let this short king run our shit. We can't really keep backing him. People are just not down with Ron DeSantis. They don't think he's the one to usurp Trump. And truthfully, I think we all know at this point that Trump is going to be the Republican candidate. Once again, that's another thing that Newsom mentioned in this little debate, which I gotta say ran over, it was an hour and 30 minutes. Just them just doing beef with each other. I will say the one thing I do want to reference from this Political article that did have me on the floor, before Ron DeSantis could unveil his poop map, Governor Gavin Newsom's team's frustration with Sean Hannity and his crew centered on his promises to them that he would be a fair moderator, only to repeatedly sandbag the governor and give the entire affair a 201 dynamic as they saw it, which I would agree. It definitely had moments of and don't get me wrong, I'll give DeSantis credit. There were times where he and Hannity, Trump, they just stumped him. The opening question was literally hey, so there's a lot of people leaving California to go to Florida. What do you have to say about that, Gavin? Which automatically you're oh man, so this is definitely not a good look for one side. Because this is how the moderator, Hannity, Sean Hannity, the fucking meat brick asshole, is just fucking, slamming this fucking out as fair and balanced. It's oh, this isn't good. And literally every, from there, he just started filibustering Gavin Newsom. And he really didn't answer the question in any kind of real eloquent way. I personally think he should have owned it and said well, hey, yeah, there's a reason for that. People can't afford to live here, and I'm working on it. He didn't say that. He did the neoliberal thing and just filibustered because he didn't have a good answer, because he is a part of the problem. So he just started looking like he was a loser kind of from the start. But he would just have those zingers where, like I said, he did the self-own, none of us are going to be president in 2024 in this room right now. It kind of just went back and forth. The poop map was crazy. It literally was San Francisco, and Ron DeSantis was saying well, this the homeless problem is so bad, people are just pooping on the streets and just doing drugs on the streets, and just doing the San Francisco call out that has become very casual, very common. Essentially, there's a big crime problem. You guys are just legalizing crime, and no one's happy, and everyone's poor, and everyone's on the streets. When really the problem is no one can afford to live here, and the only thing you can do is resort to crime. But that's a whole other fucking episode that we can get into. But yeah, I mean, they went back and forth. They talked about statistics. It definitely, yet again, just felt very curbed and served in favor of DeSantis. But yet again, there were times when like Gavin Newsom would kind of get the upper hand in the conversation, and it looked like he was kind of working it in there. But then you would literally just see like Hannity break it apart, and be like, "Oh, okay, da 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 da. I'm not just a house plant. Pay attention to me." And he would add some kind of like fact and factoid flavor once again for DeSantis. Now you can't really be surprised. This is a Fox News broadcast. Of course they're gonna fucking do this. But I don't know. This really was a nothing burger. But like I said, if there's a debate that I'm going to watch, I'm probably going to drag y'all through it. I'm going to give the Isaiah's version of it. So yeah, feel free to, frolic through the internet and find that. We have one more thing to cover before I let you go. Actually, we're moving from scam to scam here. And yeah, this one is Paraguay related, but it involves a whole country that technically doesn't even exist. So that's fun. Let me take my break and then we'll get into it. Oh me, oh my. Oh yeah, that was it. Oh, bear with me. Technical difficulties. Oh wow. Okay. Ooh, from the Associated Press. Paraguay official resigns after signing agreement with fictional country. A Paraguayan government official was replaced after it was revealed that he signed a memorandum of understanding with representatives of a fugitive Indian gurus. Oh my God. Fugitive Indian gurus fictional country, who also appear to have duped several local officials in the South American country. The revelation sparked a scandal and lots of social media mockery in Paraguay. But it's hardly the first time the self-described representatives of the United States of Kailasa, or Kailasa, I'm not sure. Who cares? This one's not even real, so I don't even feel bad about it. I'm sorry. I just don't. My bad, but nah. Duped international leaders. Earlier this year, they managed to participate in a United Nations committee meeting in Geneva and also signed agreements with local leaders in the United States and Canada. Now, I looked into the United States one, and apparently, like, this group of people, and they come as like envoys of this guy. I should have the name of this guy readily available, but I don't. But essentially, they come and they're saying like, hey, like we want to, sign, this document, this thing with you, and essentially, it feels like they're doing it because it helps establish validity. But it's so funny because literally this place doesn't have a location, and like they've asked some people about it, and it's like, oh, I just kind of thought like, hey, these were official people and they had an official document and we're all taking pictures and stuff. And sure, I didn't know where they were, but surely this is a real place. They didn't think twice about it. And that's so funny to me because I mean, that's just such a, I feel like that's a classic American kind of trope, like insult, where it's like most Americans couldn't find this place on a map. And guess what? You're right. Guilty. You know what? You could spin a globe around and say, hey, find X place. I'm probably whiffing. You got me. Oh, I'm so dumb. But you know what? Everyone's dumb. We're all fucking dummies. Like, these were all like government officials, like just completely whiffing on the fucking shit in multiple countries, not just in Paraguay. So I feel bad for this guy who's literally losing his job, just got fucking sacked. But let's see here. Arnaldo Chamorro was replaced as chief of staff of Paraguay's agricultural ministry on Wednesday, shortly after it was revealed that he signed a proclamation with representatives of the United States of Kailasa. Kailasa. Like kielbasa. Among other things, the October 16th proclamation expressed a sincere wish and recommendation for the government of Paraguay to consider, explore, and actively seek the establishment of diplomatic relations with the United States of Kailasa and support the admission of the United States of Kailasa as a sovereign and independent state in various international organizations, including among the United Nations, which I have to run back. They've actually made it to the United Nations. I've seen pictures of these motherfuckers and their cool, crazy outfits. I mean, I shouldn't say crazy. I mean crazy cool. But, like, they're very just like, whoa, what's going on here? And then, like, they're just like, they have their little headsets on. They're chilling in the room. And it's just like, once again, I'm sorry. This is me just respecting the grift. I'm respecting the con. But I do have to say, at the end of the day, the leader of this shit is a bad guy. Which I do want to fucking get to if I can find his name. I'm whiffing here. But essentially the leader has been like, here we go. It is led by a self-styled guru, Nithyananda, who is wanted in India on several charges, including sexual assault. His whereabouts are unknown. But essentially, like, I've seen pictures of, like, a cutout of this guy and then the group posing with, like, you know, diplomatic members and, you know, government officials, whatever. So, I mean, they have definitely gotten away with it. They've definitely made moves. So, hopefully, I mean, people are more aware of it. Hopefully, I'm helping spread awareness about this group. And you hear about the United States of Kailasa, you come running. You let me know. I would love to talk about that. I would love to, you know, get into that if that's a thing. If someone out there is, you know, experienced this group, I don't know. Apparently, but they're making big moves. That's a big grift. And to make it to the UN, shit, that's like getting into Carnegie Hall. Carnegie Hall? Yeehaw. All right, that's the episode. I'm done. Patreon.com/Isaiah News if you'd like to become a newsie. I gotta say, it is free to become a member. But the shout-outs are the paid thing. You know, you do that. You put the money in the jar. I shout you out. I do the thing. But I appreciate you being in the space, of course, as always. It's a way to contact me. There are also other free ways to contact me. Feel free to, you know, find me on the socials. Hit me up there. Hopefully subscribe to the YouTube. That helps out a lot. I'm trying to get those numbers up on the subscriptions. Thumbs up. Comments are always good. On whatever listening app you're on. And thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.